Good morning folks, here in my messy workshop again. Today I want to show you how to make a pike lure out of a big grub. In this case it's a man's, I guess 8 inches, 20 centimeters. Got these from a tackle shop the other day. A medium-sized Colorado spinner blade, in this case a homemade one. A jig, round ball, 15 grams, hook size 6/0, 8/0 would have worked as well, but I just got this one lying around. 2 trebles, size 2. I've got 2 pieces of 1mm welding wire. 2 pieces of 1mm welding wire, stainless steel, and to fix the hooks 2 pieces of well, this is 0.4 stainless wire. So I'm gonna plus a little swivel and split ring. So I'm gonna show you how to put all of this together to get a quite successful pike lure, which I use in fall season, but actually you could use it all year long, I suppose. Okay, at first I would clamp the nail about 2 millimeters diameter into the vise, and now take the small 0.4 millimeters wire, which would make up to hold the the hooks. Okay, make a U-band like this on one side. Now bend an omega clip. I had pliers that would grip firmly. Not so easy with this thin wire with my worn out pliers. Okay, now I've got a band like this. Is it visible? Okay, like this. And close it to look about like this. Do the other one as well. You might use stranded wire as well, 1x7, or what's the other one called, 7x7, and use crimping sleeves, but I just have this wire at hand and it works as well. Yeah. Okay. So it's this shape now. And now I would insert the treble hook, hook's eye, but before closing the eye I must use a thinner piece like this, of thinner diameter. Put the eye over it. And wrap it close with a few windings around. My pliers are already somewhat worn out, so it's not that easy to grip this thin wire, but I just do not have any stranded material at hand, and this wire material will do as well. Okay, one more winding. Yep. Okay, now snipping off the tag end. Okay, straighten it out a bit, and the connection is done. Okay, I'll do this second one now without the camera. Now I've lined up the grub, leadhead and the two wire forms with the hooks to determine about the location of the attachment eyes to be bent into the wire form here and there, which are supposed to be attached to the eye of the leadhead later. Okay, I've marked them now so I can bend them. Okay, now that I have marked the location of the attachment eye, I would bend them around the 2mm nail again. First do the omega shape again. Oops, now it fell down. I'm gonna look for it. Okay, found it. Okay, bend the eye like this. Now the second one, the shorter one. So where's the marking now? Okay, here it is. Yeah, that's the display effect again. My pliers are too worn out for this thin wire. Okay, here I've got the second omega shape. Now I must put in a thinner wire piece again. And now wind it around the jig head. It's a bit of a finicky work. Okay, pliers. And do it the other way around. Okay, finally now it's closed. So some windings around again. Be careful not to hook yourself. Okay, that's it. Snipping off. Now comes the second one. That's even gonna be more finicky. Insert it. So make sure you put hook and jig head on top of the vise, not to be in the way, possibly. Grab the pliers, close the eye first, and take care not to wrap the other one with it. Where am I now? Oh, it slid out. Okay, now I'm in again. This thing up. You see, it's a bit of a finicky affair. Probably, if you would prefer, you could go with stranded wire and leader sleeves. Might be easier. It did not turn out that neat, but it will hold. Okay. Snipping off again, and need to align it now. Okay. Okay, what I like to do now is to grind off these little tag ends. Just grind them flush. Gotta take care not to make a dent into the wire. Otherwise, your work will be wasted. I always like to do this with all of my wire work. First, that your fishing line could not be damaged. Second, that you would not pinch those tag ends into your fingers when handling your lure. So I guess I forgot one. Try this one here. Okay, we're done. So now that our rig is finished, we can put on the lead head to the lure. As always, a bit finicky as well. Of course, you want to come out properly, which it didn't. This is the display effect. Of course, I need to take care of my fingers here due to all of the hooks. Of course, I want to rig the lure and not my fingers. Okay, this one has markings. Alright, where the hook should exit, and I guess now I've hit it quite well. Alright. Well, not quite perfect, but I guess it's okay this way. The leadhead, I mean the jig hook is only to, well, should I leave it this way or not? It's a bit curved. Oh, I guess I take it out again. This is the display effect, really. So let's start again to find a new channel. Okay. No, it's perfect. Okay. Now I can put in the trebles, one here and one there. You see, size 6/0 jig hook is a bit too small, but in this case it's only the secondary weapon of this lure. Primary weapons are the two trebles. Normally you would rig such grub with an 8/0 hook protruding here, but as said before, I didn't have no other one at hand. So basically the rigging is done now. So let's get to the spinner blade. Alright. Okay, now I will use my 2mm nail again. Clamp it in the vise to make the coil spring lock of the wire arm. So take your longer piece of 1mm wire, bend the tag end like this. Then you'd hook it behind this nail and start winding around, coil against coil. This is how to make the coil spring lock. Alright. The nail has to be 2mm or 2.2mm in diameter, since the wire you're working with is 1mm. Okay. This is your coil now. And take out the nail. Here it is. Alright. What you would do now to render your coil into the coil spring lock is to pull it apart just as far that your 1mm wire would fit in between the coil, so it's still binding in some places. So I give it a little more. Okay. It must really fit in between every coil. The coil is too long anyway. I could use it for 2 locks. So cut it apart. This is now the coil spring lock. Okay. To bend the eye of the jig spinner, I'm using a bigger drill bit now, 3mm, 3.2 up to 3.5mm, to bend the attachment eye of the jig spinner, because you want that eye to be somewhat bigger to be slid through the eye of the lead head. Now you do this omega shape again, like this. Why did I take away the drill bit? Still need it to finish the omega shape. Okay. This one turned out nice and equal. Alright. And now, this is the attachment eye. Now we're bending back this end and do it the other way. Okay. Like this. Snip off about so. Could go a little bit shorter, like this. Right. So this would be the attachment eye with the locking hook. And what I like to do is I would also break the edges of the snipped off tag end, because I do not want it to be pinched into my fingers. And what you need to take care of, here's our grub. So this one goes like this. So this is how it's gonna be attached later. So this band here must not be too tight that it will not fit over the eye of the jig head anymore. So this way it fits perfectly. I could even make this one a little tighter, but not much. Yep. So will it still come out? So it does. I shouldn't make it tighter anymore. Alright. Now we must determine about the length of the wire arm. Okay. Okay, now I would also break the sharp edge of the coil spring. Just when handling it later, I do not want my fingers to be bleeding, only by nasty Pike maybe. Okay. Now we put this over here. We press it together. That doesn't. I have to take down the eye a bit. Okay, just to decrease the okay, you screw it down. So now the eye is locked. This way you can align it. And now let me determine about where I should separate the coil. I need quite a long arm, so I will snip it off there. Unscrew it again. Snip it off about that place. Okay, this one. And break the edge again. Okay. Right. Now I'm going to screw it back. This is a very reliable lock. Okay, now I will do the eye of the spinner arm using, oh, that's a bit too large now. Well, I've got here, do not want this thing to be too big. Alright, let's do this one. We have a rather large spinner blade, so we want the arm to be long as this. Make sure you wind this eye 90 degrees offset to the lower attachment eye. Okay, one time and around 90 degrees knee. Alright, like this. Make it a little snug. A little bit. Okay. This is it. Yep. And now we bend the eye for attaching the spinner blade. This one we would do about here. Also again 90 degrees offset to the attachment eye. Make this omega shape again. Like this, about, okay. Now a little thinner pin again. Put over the little swivel. Alright. And now wrap this eye closed. Maybe there are easier ways to wrap wire eyes, but this is the way I've been doing it for 20 years now. Okay. Snip off. And now I'm going to grind away the tag ends again, what I did before with the wire forms. So just ground away the tag end. And what I like to do is to squeeze this round eye, oops, to a little oval shape. This is just because that the small swivel would not bind to the outer end of the round eye, but always pull back to the deepest point. Okay, now the jig spinner frame is done. Alright. Okay, what is left to do now is to assemble the spinner blade to the split ring. Okay, my pliers. Yep. And to assemble the jig spinner to my lure. Take care where my wire ice is. I guess I need glasses. Alright, it's clipped in now. Now press the two shanks together and wind down the coil. Jig spinner's done. I'll change the focus of the camera. Okay. What I forgot to say before is that I forgot to tell you to determine about this length when wrapping this attachment eye. Of course, it must be far enough that you would still be open to still be able to open the coil. If you make it too close, this coil would not slide up far enough. That's what I forgot. I just estimated and I was dead on. So you should not forget that. The height of the closure hook and attachment eye must all correspond then somehow. Okay, alright. Okay people, this was my little video about how I rig such pike lures. It's essential to keep the lead head not very heavy. This one is, I estimate 12 or 15 grams. Because you do not want to jig this lure along the bottom. It's something for the upper water column, though you can also toss it along the bottom very slow. And also this big blade provides quite a bit of lift to the lure, so you can retrieve it quite slow with the tail of this lure rippling nicely. I'm also doing such lures for zanders, for bottom located fish, but in this case I would use a heavier lead head and the smaller blade, not to provide so much lift, that the lure would stay deep, and of course for zander also smaller grubs. Anyway, I hope you could figure out something about my video. Sorry, I'm always a bit nervous in front of the camera, and there's always Murphy's always involved when displaying something. Alright, thanks a lot for watching folks. See you next time. Bye bye.